Each piece of wood is unique, shaped by decades of tree's life. Every stave or board used in bow making tells a story of the conditions the tree endured throughout its growth. In reality, there is no such thing as a perfect piece of wood, and that is precisely what makes each one special and one of a kind. For a bowyer, every detail matters, especially when it comes to the material. In this video, we will take a closer look at this crucial aspect of bow making and explore how to make the most of wood that may initially seem imperfect. As a bowyer with 8 years of experience, I have always appreciated staves with strong character, those with knots, wavy or snaky grain, and other natural irregularities. I love when the soul of the wood remains visible in the finished bow. This approach has led me to many interesting projects throughout my bow building journey and taught me how to work with obstacles, turning them into advantages rather than limitations. If you are interested in bow making, I'd like to recommend my ebooks, which are a condensed version of my experience and knowledge. You can find them at dreamcraftbows.com. Now, let's dive deeper into today's topic. Let's start with a major flaw that in most cases would be considered fatal for a bow stave. Large knots with a soft, dead core. It's impossible to incorporate such a knot into a working limb. However, when it's intentionally placed at the very center of the stave, both in width and length, it becomes possible to build a center-shot bow from it. I call these bows cyclops. Designing a bow like this begins very early in the process. It must already be planned at the lock splitting stage to ensure the knot ends up in the correct position. This makes suitable staves quite rare, and the bows themselves even more special. The wood surrounding a knot is naturally reinforced, with the grain flowing around it like a river around a rock. When the knot is properly carved out, the bow can remain both durable and fully functional. Trying to force straight, knotless staves into this kind of design can end up very badly. As for efficiency and usability, cyclop bows are shot in a very different way compared to conventional bows. Arrow flight is entirely different, and when you first switch to one, your aim will likely suffer. I made a video on this topic last week, be sure to check it out. Anyway, making bow that way, you receive a unique bow straight out of a movie or a game. Another exciting way to work with what we usually call wood flaws is to use the natural shape of the trunk as the bow's initial shape. Most bowyers and craftsmen in general seek the straightest staves possible. However, naturally shaped pieces can also be extremely valuable, especially when we consider that they are creations of nature, which already makes them works of art. So what makes such a stave truly valuable? Let's take a look at one of my red oak bows. The bow you are seeing right now wasn't shaped by me. I followed the natural shape of the wood. It has a deflex-reflex profile, which is considered one of the most efficient designs and is commonly used, especially in modern bows. There are countless ways to use natural curves of the wood to plan bow building projects. The most common one and the easiest to find and apply, based on my experience, is the reflex on the whole length of the stave. As before, the key is proper placement of the bow within the stave. This requires careful wood reading. The planning process begins early, already at the stage of selecting and splitting wood. When walking through the forest and looking at saplings, branches or full-grown trees, a bowyer should be able to see bows hidden inside them. If given the opportunity, he should choose the right pieces for the projects he intends to bring to life. Being able to select wood in this way is a rare privilege, but when possible, it is the best way to acquire truly exceptional bow wood. The next way to use a wood flow is related to the grain, and it also manifests itself in the shape of the bow. Though unlike the previous example, not necessarily in the shape of the trunk itself. How is that possible? Sometimes the grain of the wood can be crooked, even in a stave that appears perfectly straight. This is something a more experienced craftsman can recognize, while a novice might easily overlook it. The true grain pattern is revealed during splitting, as the split follows the wood's natural grain paths. But how can this be a good thing? Occasionally, nature creates truly exceptional grain patterns that, in the hands of a skilled bowyer, can be fully embraced and turned into something special. Bows made this way are often called snake bows. These are fully functional pieces of archery equipment and are highly appreciated within the traditional bowmaking community, both for the rarity of such material and for the level of skill required to execute this design. I have made a few bows inspired by this idea, but I haven't yet built a true snake bow, though I sincerely hope to one day. As you can see, wood flaws are very common. In fact, they are present in every piece of wood. And like most things, there are always two sides to the story. Wood flaws can be difficult obstacles, sometimes even impossible to overcome. But with the right attitude and creative approach, they can also turn a bow into an exceptional weapon, co-created with nature. This is a very broad topic, and to be honest, I feel like I've just only scratched the surface, but that's all for today, guys. So thank you for watching, and make sure to check out my website dreamcraftboss.com. See you next week.